Welcome, everybody. We're here for Acts chapter 23. Okay, so let's begin with the lesson. Okay, having looked intently, then Paul. So Paul's looking at intently, meaning very passionate, very with much emotion. At the council, that would be the council, a tribune, most likely the Sanhedrin. Paul said, men. So directing, acknowledging, hey, you're men. Two, brothers, as in this word brothers would be members of the same religious community, not so much brothers as in you're my actual brother. I, in all conscience, meaning good conscience, is what it means. So, I, in all conscience, good. Now, remember, we've been learning, as with most translations, the wordage is shifted around. I see the same thing when I learn sign language. Sign language is all over the place, and you have to kind of move the words around to really understand the context. It's the same thing here. Okay? In all good conscience, right? Meaning I, Paul, am having a very good conscience about myself of what I'm saying to you. Have lived as a citizen, basically citizen of the world. Because it doesn't say it doesn't say citizen of this town or this city or this area, it just says citizen. So I've lived as a person. To God, citizen to God, thea. Okay? Unto this day, so from the day I was born up until now, I'm a citizen to God. Then the high priest Ananias. Okay, Ananias. I believe that would be the father or father-in-law of Caiaphas, I believe. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when they took Jesus and arrested him, they first took him to Ananias, and then after that they took him to Caiaphas. So I believe this Ananias is the stepfather or stepdad, either that or the actual dad of Caiaphas, but probably the stepdad. Anyway, the high priest Ananias commanded those standing by Paul, to strike of him the mouth. In other words, punch the mouth of Paul. Then Paul to him said, so Paul's responding to the strike, to the punch. To strike you is about God whitewashed. That one doesn't make too much sense, but if I had to guess, I would say to strike, Paul speaking to them. Most likely he's speaking to Ananias because it does use the word him, not them, which would be referencing to many people because Ananias is talking to those standing by him. So I believe Paul is directing his word at Ananias. To strike you is about God, whitewashed, and you sit judging me. So from the context of you're judging me, it's like, why do you want to strike me, kind of thing. Okay? And by the way, guys, I am, like that particular phrase, I am trying my best to word it the best way for you. So whitewashed means clean in a way of saying. Whitewashed, you're washed white, okay? Very easy to understand. So from the context, it would seem that Paul is addressing Ananias saying, hey, you're not sinless. Why are you trying to look at me and strike me down? Because I have issues. And I get that from keywords in the statement. Striking, meaning I want to hit you. Whitewashed, as in you're not whitewashed, but it doesn't use the word you're whitewashed, but whitewashed is usually in the statement of to be cleansed. So if we look at the word whitewashed here, plaster over whitewash to whitewash, okay, is why it uses that word. And you sit judging me according to the law, and violating law commanded me to be struck. So he's basically saying, why are you trying to strike me? Are you judging me according to the law? That I violated something in the law? Now, remember, the law would be 10 Commandments, as well as the 613 mitzvah, or rules for the Jews that you don't do. If you want, if you want to know about that, go look at the Facebook link of my ministry, or the ministry that God has given me, and scroll through there. You will eventually find all of the mitzvahs, or rules of Jewish customs, listed of what you're not allowed to do. So if you wanted to go and learn that, you can go there and learn that. Anyway, that's the context. Do you sit judging me according to the law, and according to what God's laws are, and violating command me? Meaning, do you think that I've violated something? And that's why you want to strike me, because you think I'm violating something. If so, tell me. Those who now stood by, meaning those who are there, probably the people that Ananias is speaking to, as well as anyone else, said to the high priest of God, that would be Ananias, "Do you insult?" was saying, then Paul, not "I was aware, brothers." So, kind of like questioning the high priest. The high priest of God, they said to the high priest, they're questioning him. Question mark. "Do you insult?" Was saying then Paul, not "I was aware, brothers," that he is high priest. So Paul is saying in response, hey, Paul is saying in response, I know that he's high priest. So whether the people standing there, what they're saying, okay, so those who stood by said, "The high priest of God, do you insult?" Now we get context, okay? So who is those who are standing by? As I said, if we track back, it would be those who Ananias commanded them, saying, hey, strike him. But it would also be anybody that would be nearby. So those standing by said, "The high priest of God, do you insult?" Now, they're not saying to the high priest, because why would you question a high priest saying, hey, do you insult yourself? You know what I mean? They're saying that to Paul. Paul, why are you insulting the high priest? The words that Paul was saying was taken as an insult. Was saying then Paul, not "I was aware, brothers, that he is high priest." Okay. So Paul's saying here, hey, not "I was aware." So I was aware, meaning I knew. Not "I was aware," meaning I didn't know that he was high priest. It has been written, "For the ruler of the people of you, not you shall speak evil of." So whoever the ruler is, you don't speak evil of. Okay. Now that was general context in the Jewish culture. However, later on, Jesus expounded on that, and he said, hey, through the Bible, through the Spirit of the Holy Spirit, it says in the Bible, "Let nothing corrupt come out of your mouth, which is not to build others up." So in other words, if the motive for your words coming out of your mouth is not to build somebody else up, don't speak it. That's the context of that verse I'm talking about later. And we'll get to that later. But in this context, people that are put in authority over you, you should never speak evil of. The word evil of is kekos. If I'm saying badly, evilly, wrongly. So saying bad things about, basically. Another form of that might be gossiping about. Okay. Having known then, Paul, that the one part consists of Sadducees, but the other part of Pharisees. So to describe those two for you is they are different groups within the Sanhedrin. So the Sanhedrin is the council, the high council in the Jewish culture. Okay. The Pharisees are people who believe in the resurrection. Okay, they actually believe in a bodily resurrection. The Sadducees are the group that doesn't believe in the resurrection. Okay. So one group believes in the resurrection, the other group doesn't believe in the resurrection. And the group, which one is which? Sadducees are the ones that don't believe in the resurrection. The Pharisees are the ones that do. Okay, so he's saying half of this group of people that are here are Sadducees. They don't believe in the resurrection. Half of the group of people here are Pharisees. They do believe it. And he began crying out in the council, in the gathering of men, brothers, I, a Pharisee. In other words, I was once a Pharisee, okay, before. In the Son, sorry if I'm off kilt on the camera. I do apologize about that. I am a Pharisee. I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. So not only was he a Pharisee himself at one point in training, right? He also was the son of a Pharisee. Concerning the hope and resurrection of the dead. That would be tied with the Pharisees because they do believe in the resurrection of the dead. Then he says, I am judged this. Then of whom saying arose a dissension between the Pharisees and dissension means separation, disagreement. Okay, if we hover over the word, it is status. Oh, sorry, stasis. From the base of histemi. Okay, a standing, a position, controversy. So, a dissension, a controversy, a disagreement, maybe you could go as far as saying a debate, something like that. There arose a dissension, a separation between the Pharisees. So something came in between the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And why did I say separation? Because of what comes next. And was divided. The crowd who was listening to all of this was divided. Sadducees indeed foresay not there to be resurrection. So basically, Sadducees do not believe in the resurrection, nor angels. Okay, nor angel, nor spirit. So Sadducees don't even believe in angels, spirits, none of that. Okay, Pharisees, however, confess. Both arose. So both arose, both got up. Then a clamor, crowd, if I'm saying it right, a shout, a cry, an outcry, a clamor. Great. So a great clamor, a great outcry. And having risen up, some of the scribes, grammatian is this word, scribes, okay, a writer, a scribe, a secretary of sorts. So the scribes are a writer or a secretary that follows around the Pharisees and Sadducees, and they're the ones that write everything down. Okay? Risen up some of the scribes of the party of the Pharisees. They were contending. So these scribes were from the party, from the group of the Pharisees. Okay? They were contending, make opposition with, basically. A strife greatly, contend fiercely. To fight fiercely. Contending. Not physical fighting, I don't think. Saying. Now that would give context of the type of contending you do. And it's not physical. I'm not punching you, I'm not kicking you. I'm saying. Verbal contending. Nothing evil we find in the man. This. So nothing evil we find in Paul. What if now a spirit has spoken to him? Now remember, these are Pharisees that do believe in spirits, do believe in angels. Okay? What if now a spirit, Nehemiah, if I'm saying that right, has spoken to him, or an angel, angelos. Okay? Angelos. Just like the city Los Angeles. From Angelo, a messenger. A messenger is the word here. So what if, basically, it's like, hey guys, we find nothing wrong with what he's saying. What if there is an angel that has actually spoken to him and actually talked to him? Not let us fight against God. In other words, if this is true and he is receiving something from God, let's not fight against them. We're not going to win. Okay? Great then, great then, arising dissension. So arising meaning growing up, a dissension. Okay, you have to pardon me. A dissension, a separation. Having feared the commander, probably military, least should be torn to pieces. So we're fearful of the military. Arising to say, hey guys, let's not let this get too heated. We don't want to get the military involved, Rome involved. Should be torn to pieces. Paul by them. We don't want Paul to be torn to pieces by them. He commanded the troops. So the commander was fearful. So he's like, hey, no. Paul's not going to be harmed by the people, by them. Who's them, by the way? Them, Pharisees, Sadducees, those who had issues with Paul. Right? And the commander commanded the troop, the soldiers, having gone down to take by force, take by force, him, Paul. Right? From the midst of them, that would be Sadducees, Pharisees, to bring him, Paul, then into the barracks. But the following night, have stood by him, the Lord said. So the following night, right? The soldiers have stood by him, by Paul. The Lord said to Paul, because that's who the Lord's talking to, take courage, as for you, Paul, have fully testified about me at Jerusalem. Jerusalem, if I'm saying that right. So it behooves also in Rome to testify. So you've testified about me in Jerusalem. Now I want you to be in Rome. It's going to be good for you to be in Rome to testify about me as well. Okay? So this is overnight. When it was then day. So when the day had came, having made a conspiracy, the Jews, so the Jews are the ones that made the conspiracy, put under an oath themselves, okay, declaring neither, so we're making an oath, declaring that we're not going to eat nor to drink until that they should kill Paul. So we're going to starve ourselves, no drink, no food, fast, basically, of everything, until we're allowed to kill Paul. That's how badly they wanted him dead. There were no more than 40. That gives the number of people that made this oath of the Jews. 40. This plot. So there was 40 in this plot. Having come to the chief priests and the elders, chief priests, okay, exactly what it says, chief priests, high priests, anybody that was chief priest, high priest, anything like that. And the elders, presbyterios, an older person, an Israelite Sanhedrin, in this case, said with an oath. So 40 people made an oath, hey, we're not going to eat or drink until we kill Paul. That's how bad we want him dead. And with an oath, we have bound ourselves, nothing to eat, until that we should kill Paul. So they're like, hey, this is why we're doing this. We want him dead. We made this oath. We're going to kill Paul. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to commit to it so much so that we're going to fast. No food, no liquids. You're not going to last long like that, by the way. The word that we should kill Paul is not that we're going to kill Paul, but it's we desire to kill Paul. And we want those that have Paul to allow us to kill him. Now, therefore, you make a report to the commander along with the council, so that he might be brought down to you as being about to examine more earnestly the things about him. So whatever's going on here, we have the Jews who are making a vow going, I want to kill Paul, right? We have the commander, and we have the soldiers, right? And there's a report that's going to happen to examine, which would be to inquire about and question. Like when the police bring you in and say, hey, we have questions we need to ask you. Okay? Examine more earnestly, deeply, examine you, really good. The things about him, Paul, we then, before drawing near, his ready are to kill him. Meaning those people that want to kill him, they're drawing near to where he's at for the purpose of to make ready themselves to kill him. Right? Having heard, however, the son of the sister of Paul. So, Paul's nephew, if I get that right. So the son of the sister of Paul heard of the ambush. So the nephew of Paul heard of the ambush, the trap, having come near, and have entered into the barracks. The nephew reported it to Paul. Having called to Paul, then Paul, one of the centurions, so Paul's, hey, centurion, Roman soldier, come here, please. He was saying, the young man, this take to the commander. So now he's like, okay, hey, soldier, please take my nephew to the commander so that the report can go to the commander. Okay. The young man, this take up to the commander, he has for to report something to him. The one indeed, therefore, having taken him, brought him to the commander. So the soldier did just that. Okay, brought him to the commander and says, the prisoner Paul, having called to me, asked me, this young man, to lead you, having something to say to you. Having taken hold, then the hand of him, the commander, and have withdrawn in private, meaning they went into a private area to have this discussion, not public. He began to inquire. So he began, hey, what information do you have for me? What do you need to tell me? What is it that you have to report to me? Very easy understanding. He said then, the Jews have agreed to ask you that tomorrow, so they made a vow, now they're going to ask you tomorrow, Paul, you might bring down into the council as being about something more earnestly to inquire. So now we get in context of what was said earlier, that the idea was, we want you to bring Paul down to the council, and we want to convince you that the reason why is to inquire upon you, okay, about him. You therefore not should be persuaded by them. Lie in wait, indeed, for him of them men more than 40. Right? So even though these men are telling you they just want to question Paul, they have a desire to kill him, who have put under an oath themselves, neither to eat nor drink until that they have killed him. And now they are ready, awaiting the from you promise, meaning that you indeed listen to them and bring Paul down. So now we get the context, okay? So in this whole situation, the commander's like, hey, no. We're not going to let this escalate into a fight or you killing somebody. We're going to take this Paul. We're going to put him someplace different in the barracks. We're going to keep him there. You're not to get a hold of him. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep him there and question him. And the Jews are like, hey, okay, we got to get a hold of Paul. We don't want him to keep talking. We want to silence him for good, just like we silenced the Lord. We want to do away with him. We want to kill him. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell to the commander and the authority figures, hey, we just want to question him. And that you should bring him down so we can question him. But their real goal was, we have made an oath to ourselves not to eat or drink until we have killed Paul. And we're lying in wait, as in a trap, ready to do just that. Okay? And the nephew ended up getting hold of this information and saying, oh, I better say something to the commander so the commander doesn't fall for their trap. Okay? Indeed, therefore, the commander dismissed the young man. So he's saying, thank you for the information. Please go on your way. Okay. And he instructed the nephew, no one tell. So tell no one that these things you have reported to me. So tell nobody that you have reported this to me. Okay. Verse 23. And having called to him, so who's calling? The commander. Who is he calling? Centurions, soldiers. So the commander is calling 2 soldiers to himself. The commander said, prepare soldiers, 200. So 200 soldiers, okay? 200 soldiers, so that they might go as far as Caesarea, okay? 200, so that they might go as far as Caesarea, okay? Remember, anytime we read if, might, maybe, any of those words, it means that mankind's free will still applies. So even though the commander is gathering 200 soldiers, there's still the possibility that the Jews could overpower the soldiers. There's still a chance that they might not make it to Caesarea on horsemen, meaning on horseback. 70. So 200 soldiers, 70 horsemen, right? 70 horsemen, and spearmen 200. So 200 soldiers, 200 spearmen, and 70 horsemen, right? So a lot of people. For the 3rd hour of the night, okay? 3rd hour of the night, not the daytime, the night time, okay? 3rd hour of the night. This would probably be somewhere around, I want to say 3 a.m. in the morning or midnight. Because to do this, we would go back to when Jesus was crucified. And I think it says something like the 3rd hour and then the 6th hour, if I believe. And the 6th hour would have been 3 o'clock. The third hour would have been noon. So this would probably be midnight. Okay. For the 3rd hour of the night, mounts, then provide. So basically, hey, gather all these soldiers up, so that having set upon them Paul, so that's who we're to protect, Paul, they might bring him safely. So it was the commander's desire to bring Paul safely, but whether Paul was brought safely or not is up for debate, because we don't know what would happen. Bring him safely where? To Felix, the governor, Felix. And this is a Latin, a Roman. So Felix, the governor, having written a letter, so sending with the soldiers a letter, having the form this Claudius Lysias. Okay, so that's who he's addressing. Claudius Lysias. To the most excellent governor, Felix, who you're addressing. Okay. Greetings, the man this, having been seized by the Jews. So now he's describing for the person who receives the letter what's taking place. We have seized this man. He was originally seized by the Jews, and the Jews wanted to kill him, and being about to kill by them, right, having come up with the troop, I rescued him. So he's saying, hey, even though the Jews wanted to kill him, I rescued him, having learned that a Roman he is. So I've learned that he is a Roman citizen. Okay. He is resolving then to know the charge on account. So he's questioning, hey, what do you have against me? Okay. Of which they were accusing him. So he's like, hey, what are you accusing me of? I brought him down to the council of them, whom I found being accused concerning questions of the law of them. So this is the reason they gave. The reason that the Jews gave was it was about the questions of the law of them. No, however, worthy of death, meaning regardless of what they're accusing him of, it's not something worthy of death or of even chains, having accusations. So it's like, hey, they're trying to unjustly do something against him. Okay. It having been disclosed then to me. of a plot that against the man. So it has been disclosed to me. That would be talking about the nephew relaying the information. Hey, they have a trap for him. It has been came to my attention, to me, of a plot against this man would be at once. I sent him to you. So because of this plot, I sent him to you, having instructions also, the accusers, to speak these things against them before you. So I've also instructed the Jews to go to you and address you directly about why they're questioning him, why they have issues with it. Okay. Indeed, therefore, the soldiers, according to that, have been ordered them, have taken Paul, brought him by night, overnight, to Antipatris. Okay, Antipatris. Okay, Antipatris. A place in Palestine is where that's at. Antipatris. Place in Palestine. Let me go look it up for you. Okay, so I had to pause it, but you guys see on the map right here, this big red bubble thing. That's Antipatris. Okay? Joseph of Arimathea, remember that? That's the one that dealt with the body of Jesus and put it in the tomb. That's Arimathea right there. Okay? We have Joppa over here. Now this gives you a general context. Okay, this is the surrounding area. Okay, so you see, and Arimathea, Lydia, Gezer, something over here. There's Mount Bala. There's the coastal route, which is the route along the path. There's Kana River, Yarkon River, all of that. So now we get some understanding of where Antipatris is. Okay. So going back to the story, on the next day, having allowed the horsemen to go with him, they returned to the barracks. Okay, they returned to the barracks, who have entered into Caesarea. So now General Caesarea area. Okay, and having delivered the letter to the governor, to who it was supposed to be sent to, presented also Paul to him. Having read it, meaning he read the letter, then and have asked from what province, what area he is. And having learned that from Cilicia, he said, I will hear fully you. I will listen fully to what you have to say. He was saying when also the accusers of you may have arrived, have commanded in the praetorium, that would be a area, let's hover over the word, the governor's courtroom. That's what that means. Praetorium. Governor's courtroom. Praetorio. Okay. Praetoria tu Herodo. If I'm saying that right. Herod. Praetorium of Herod. So courtroom of Herod. To be guarded him. Okay. So now you get the context. Situation's going on. Paul's being accused of things. The Jews want him dead. The Jews make a plot, but they're trying to convince the government, the soldiers and the commanders, that they just want to question him. The nephew of Paul finds this out, goes to the commander, tells the commander realizes the trap, takes Paul, goes on a journey. He doesn't go on a journey himself, but the commander doesn't go on a journey, but he takes a bunch of his soldiers, horses, spears, and regular soldiers, sends somewhere close to 500, sends them on a trip, right, to another person, which we saw earlier, and then now it's coming back, okay, to a different person, and now it's going to the courtroom of Herod. So he's like, hey, where are you from? Okay, you're from this place? Okay, you need to go to this governor who is in charge of this place that you're from. Okay, so that's the context of Acts chapter 23. So guys, thank you for your time. Now, as time goes by, I'm going to start talking more about these different words, but the ones I try to hit most is very key words that you might need to know in Greek. Okay? So thank you for your time. I will stop this recording and I will begin the next one.